Do you ever feel like your emotions control you instead of you controlling them? One moment you are full of energy, ready to conquer the world, and in the very next, you feel drained, angry, or hopeless. Imagine how much of your life has already been decided not by your talent, not by your intelligence, not even by your hard work, but by the way you felt in a given moment. Think about it. How many opportunities have slipped away because you were scared? How many relationships have broken down because of anger? And how many dreams have died quietly because you didn't feel motivated enough to act? Now, here's the truth Tony Robbins has been teaching for decades. If you can master your emotions, you can master your destiny. Because emotions are the invisible steering wheel of your life. They decide whether you move forward or stay stuck. They decide whether you create or destroy. And they decide whether you become the person you dream of being or stay trapped in the same old patterns. But here's the shocking part: most people never learn this skill. They spend their entire lives being victims of their feelings instead of becoming masters of their state. Tony Robbins says, the quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. If you can't control your emotions, you can't control your life, period. Now listen carefully, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal to you Tony Robbins' 5 powerful secrets to emotional mastery. These are not theories. These are tools, frameworks, and habits that can transform how you feel on demand. And if you stick with me till the end, you'll discover not just how to control your feelings, but how to rewire them so that success, confidence, and inner strength become your natural default state. But before I reveal the first secret, let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered why two people can go through the same situation but react in completely different ways? One loses everything and falls apart. The other loses everything and builds an empire. What's the difference? It's not luck. It's not background. It's emotional mastery. And if they can learn it, so can you. Now, let me give you the first tool. Tony Robbins calls it the power of state. Your state is the combination of your body, your focus, and your language. Right now, as you listen to me, the way you sit, the way you breathe, even the way you hold your face is controlling how you feel. If you slump your shoulders, breathe shallow, and say to yourself, I can't do this, your brain believes it. But if you stand tall, breathe deeply, put energy in your body, and say, I've got this, everything changes instantly. Try it right now. Straighten your back, take a deep breath, put a big, almost ridiculous smile on your face. Now say out loud, yes, I can. Notice how different you feel already. That's not magic. That's science. You've just shifted your emotional state. And if you can shift it once, you can shift it anytime. And here's the loop. You might be thinking, okay, changing my posture and breathing feels nice for a moment, but will it really help when life gets hard? That's exactly what I'm going to show you in the next few minutes. Because once you understand how your focus and your inner language connect with your body, you'll have a formula to control any emotion, no matter how intense. But before I continue, think about this. What would your life look like if instead of fear, you could turn on courage whenever you need it? If instead of stress, you could switch into calm clarity in seconds? And if instead of feeling stuck, you could generate unstoppable drive at will? This is not a fantasy. This is exactly what emotional mastery gives you. And in just a moment, I'll reveal the second secret that Tony Robbins teaches, one that will completely change the way you handle your thoughts. Now that you've felt the power of shifting your state, let's move to the second secret, the power of focus. Tony Robbins always says, where focus goes, energy flows. Think about that. At every moment of your life, millions of things are happening around you. Some are good, some are bad, some are neutral, but your brain cannot pay attention to everything. So what it does is filter reality and highlight only the pieces you decide to focus on. If you constantly focus on what's missing, you'll feel poor even if you're rich. If you focus on what's wrong, you'll feel miserable even when most of your life is working. But if you choose to focus on what's strong, what's possible, and what's exciting, you'll feel powerful, no matter what challenges you're facing. Here's a small exercise. Right now, wherever you are, look around and try to find everything that is brown. Go ahead, notice brown objects, brown furniture, maybe even brown clothes. Got it? Now close your eyes for a moment, and tell me, how many blue things were around you? Hard to remember, right? Because you weren't focused on blue, you were focused on brown. That's exactly how life works. Whatever you focus on, you notice more of. Focus on fear, and you'll see fear everywhere. Focus on opportunity, and suddenly doors you never noticed before will start appearing. Now here's the loop. You might be wondering, if focus is so important, how do I make sure I'm focusing on the right things when life throws me problems? Excellent question, because the truth is, problems will never stop coming, but what Tony teaches is that problems are simply signals. They're reminders to shift your focus from what's wrong to what can I do. For example, imagine you just lost your job. You can focus on the pain, the unfairness, the stress, or you can focus on the skills you now have time to develop, the people you can network with, or the new opportunities that might lead you to something even greater. Same situation, different focus, completely different destiny. But here's what most people miss: focus is not just a mental habit, it's an emotional filter that decides whether you're a victim or a leader, whether you shrink or grow. So, let me ask you right now, if you took all the energy you've been spending on worry, fear, and doubt and you refocused it on one powerful goal, what could your life look like in the next 6 months? Don't just think about it, feel it. That's the power of focus. Now, we're about to dive into the third secret, one that Tony Robbins says is absolutely critical if you want to stop being a prisoner of your past emotions. This is the key to rewiring not just how you think, but how you feel about your entire life story. And once you understand this, you'll never look at challenges the same way again. But before we continue, let me create a little suspense here, because I want you to imagine something. What if the things that hurt you most in the past were actually the greatest gifts life ever gave you? Sounds impossible, right? Yet in a few moments, you'll see exactly why that's true. The third secret is this: the meaning you give shapes your entire life. Tony Robbins says, nothing in life has any meaning except the meaning we give it. That one line has changed millions of lives. Think about it, two people can go through the exact same experience, yet one comes out broken while the other comes out stronger. Why? Because of the meaning they attach to it. Let me give you an example. Imagine two children growing up with a father who is always angry. One child says, because of him, my life is ruined, I can never be happy. The other child says, because of him, I learned to never treat my family that way. I'm going to build a loving home. Same father, same situation, but completely different lives, because of meaning. And here's where you need to pay attention, because this is a psychological loop moment. Maybe right now, you're holding on to a story about your past, something that makes you feel weak, something that makes you believe you're not enough. But what if, just what if, the pain you went through was actually preparing you for your life's greatest mission? Tony often shares stories of people who suffered deeply but later became leaders, healers, innovators. Why? Because they rewrote the meaning of their past. Instead of saying, this destroyed me, they said, this forged me. Pause for a moment and think, what's one painful memory that still controls you now? Imagine flipping the meaning. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask, how did this happen for me? Here's a small truth: life will never stop testing you, but if you control the meaning, you control your destiny. And let me warn you, most people never learn the secret. They stay trapped in stories of blame, regret, and self-pity. They let their past become their prison. But you're watching this right now because something inside you knows you're meant for more. So, let me create a little anticipation here, because in the next secret, we're going to uncover something Tony Robbins calls the force multiplier. It's the one shift that doesn't just change your state, your focus, or your meaning. It multiplies your growth in ways you can't even imagine. And if you miss this part, you'll miss the very foundation of unstoppable success. The fourth secret is this: proximity is power. Tony Robbins says, who you spend time with is who you become. This isn't just a nice quote, it's a law of human behavior. If you surround yourself with people who complain, who settle, who play small, you will eventually lower your standards to match theirs. But if you immerse yourself in an environment of growth, ambition, and possibility, your life will rise to match that level. Think about it. If your closest friends are broke, chances are high you'll struggle financially. If they're unhealthy, you'll slip into the same habits. But if they're dreamers, action takers, achievers, you'll feel pulled toward the same destiny. Tony often tells the story of how he became obsessed with modeling success. He didn't have money, he didn't have privilege, but he sought out mentors, books, seminars, anything to put himself in proximity with people who had the results he wanted. And that's how a janitor earning $40 a week transformed into the world's leading life strategist. Now here's where the psychological loop comes in. Ask yourself, Who are you spending the most time with right now? Are they lifting you higher, or pulling you down? Most people don't realize it, but their environment is silently programming their beliefs, habits, and future. And if you don't consciously choose your circle, life will choose it for you, and you might not like the result. Here's a little challenge. Take inventory of your 5 closest relationships. Then ask yourself, if I stay on the same path as them, where will my life be in 5 years? If the answer doesn't excite you, it's time to upgrade your environment. Tony puts it this way: proximity is power because energy is contagious. If you want to be fearless, spend time with fearless people. If you want to be wealthy, get around those who build wealth. If you want to be fulfilled, connect with people who radiate gratitude and joy. But let me warn you, this is where most people stop. They hear the idea, they nod their head, but they never actually change their environment. They stay trapped in toxic circles, expecting different results. That's insanity. And here's the suspense. In the next secret, Tony reveals something even deeper, something that doesn't just change who you're around, but how you show up. It's the secret to unleashing unstoppable momentum, and without it, no amount of focus, meaning, or environment will ever last. So stick with me, because what comes next might just be the missing link between where you are and the life you've always dreamed of. The 5th and final secret is this: massive action creates momentum. Tony Robbins says, never leave the side of a decision without taking action, because decisions without action are just wishes. Momentum comes only when you act immediately, even if it's small, even if it's messy. Think about it. Have you ever set a goal, felt excited for a few minutes, maybe even wrote it down, but then did nothing? Days turned into weeks, and that dream quietly faded away. That's what happens to most people. They wait for the perfect time, the right moment, or more clarity. But here's the truth: clarity comes from action, not from thinking. Momentum is a force of nature. Once you take the first step, the second becomes easier, and soon you're unstoppable. But without that initial push, you'll stay stuck forever. It's like a rocket, it uses 80% of its fuel just to lift off the ground, but once it breaks through, the rest becomes effortless. Tony tells people all over the world, don't just learn, don't just plan, do something right now. Send a message, make the call, sign up for the class, start the workout, launch the idea. Because small consistent actions, over time, create unstoppable results. Now here's a psychological loop for you. What is one thing you know you need to do, but you've been delaying? Imagine if you did it today. How different would your life look in 1 year, 5 years? That one action could completely change the trajectory of your future. And this is where everything comes together: focus, meaning, proximity, and now, action. These are the very secrets Tony Robbins used to transform from a broke janitor to one of the most influential voices in the world. And if he could do it, without privilege, without resources, then so can you. But remember, knowledge without action is useless. So before this video ends, I want you to pause and commit. What is the one action you will take today? Write it in the comments. Share it, declare it, because once you declare, you start momentum, and once momentum starts, nothing can stop you. And finally, here's my call for you. If you want more wisdom like this, if you want practical tools to create wealth, happiness, and unstoppable confidence, then don't just stop here. Subscribe to Fearless Growth right now, because every week, we're bringing you life-changing strategies from the greatest minds in history. This may be the turning point of your life. Don't let it slip away. Hit that subscribe button, watch the full video, and remember, your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. So take action, start now. Your breakthrough is waiting.